years ago, maybe 5 years ago. I've got a really good memory. It's just short. I can't remember what happened yesterday a lot of time. But we were out in Colorado Tuesday night after a revival service. We were eating supper with the pastor, and he's telling us how that just a few weeks before he's on the internet, and he's looking for some music to go along with the message he is wanting to preach. And he came across the New Manna Baptist Church youth choir over in Marion, North Carolina. Pastor Tony Shirley, a good friend of ours. And that youth choir was singing the song entitled, "He Knows My Name." And the pastor said, I sit there and watch that youth choir sing and cried like a baby all the way through the song, thinking about the great God of heaven that stepped out on nothing and spoke everything into existence. And this same great God takes time to know me. And know me by my name. He said it wasn't too long after. He said, I went out to West Coast Baptist College. He said, I'm out there to preach a chapel service. And he said, I'm sitting on the platform with the vice president of the college. And he said, I'm looking out at all the students and all the faculty in that auditorium. And he said, I realize, with the exception of only about 2 people, 2 students who are from my church, he said, nobody else there has a clue who I am. He said, to make matters worse, the vice president leans over during one of the songs and says, excuse me, sir, what was your name? And he said, I leaned back over and told him what my name was and started crying like a baby all over again, thinking nobody here has a clue who I am. But there's a God in heaven who knows me. And he knows me by my name. That happened on Tuesday night. The children, they were familiar with the song. They came back in the auditorium and practiced it just a little bit. And the next night, we were going to surprise the pastor with it. And we're standing out in the parking lot on Wednesday afternoon before the service, and my cell phone rings, and it just happens to be one of the staff members from New Manna. Brother Charlie's his name. I tell Brother Charlie the story about this pastor that I just shared with you. And Brother Charlie said, man, it seems like just in recent days, that song has been a blessing to a lot of people. And he went on to tell me how that just a few weeks before this, he said, we had a missionary in Mexico in our service, and the missionary sat on the front row, and he said, this particular service, that night, I believe it was Sunday night, he said, our youth choir just happened to be singing that song that particular night. And he said, right in the middle of the song, the missionary jumps up off the front row and says he starts shouting and carrying on and praising the Lord. And he said, next thing we know, this missionary starts a conversation with our youth choir. And he said, young people, that may be just a bunch of words to you, the fact that this God knows us by name, he said, but it's real to me. And he went on to tell and testify how that just some days, some weeks before this, he said, we were down in Mexico, and he said, I'm driving back into the city where we're missionaries to. He said, I had my wife, my children, myself was in the car. And he said, we approached the gate of the city. I'm the 3rd car to go in line, to go through the gate in line, right there going up the road. And he said, at the gate, he said, there's a roadblock. He said, we're thinking it's just the authorities checking cars. He said, but as we drove closer, he said, there were men in mass, automatic weapons, assault rifles. He said it was the drug cartel. He said, I watched as those men in mass came to the first car, 2 cars ahead of me, and he said they jerked the man out and beat him to death right there on the side of the road. He said they came to the 2nd car, they beat him, jerked him out, beat him to death, and he said, going through my mind is I'm next. He said, I watched as a man in a mask comes to my car door. He said the man reaches for the door handle, lets it go, walks on by.
Amen.
He said, we just happened to be listening to He Knows My Name. He said, they went to the car behind us, the car after that. He said, they're jerking men out. He said, they're beating them right there on the side of the road. And he said, all of a sudden, we hear sirens coming up behind us. It's the police. He said, those drug cartels start shooting their automatic weapons at the police. And the police start shooting their weapons back at the drug cartel. And he said, we're right in the middle with bullets flying all over the place. He said, not wanting to sit in our car and take chance on bullets coming through the glass. He said, we decided to try to open up the passenger door, crawl out on the ground to get out of the gunfight. He said, I guess during all the melee of us trying to get out of the car, He said, somebody must have hit repeat on the CD player. He said, for 7 hours, we laid on the ground in that ditch with our head down, not knowing how this thing was going to turn out. He said, but we listened to, He knows my name. He said, young people, I'm standing before you tonight because I can say that I know the great God of heaven, and that's a good thing. He said, but greater than me saying I know Him, it's the God of heaven says that He knows me. I don't have a clue. I've never met a lot of you folk. Now, I don't guess anybody in the building other than my family and the Ellington family. But I do know probably a crowd this size, there's somebody going through a heartache, a trial, a burden, some sorrow. And you wonder sometimes where God is. You wonder if He's forgot about you. But I'm glad that when you're walking in this valley, this heartache, this trouble, we serve a God who says, my sheep hear my voice. They know me and they follow me. And this same God says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I'll give you rest. Then He gives us the promise, just cast all ye care on me, because I care for you. It doesn't matter if you're walking in the valley. He said, just take a sniff. I'm the lily of the valley. It doesn't matter if you're facing sickness. He said, I am the great physician. It doesn't matter if you're hungry. I'm the bread of life. He said, if you're thirsty, I'm the water of life. It doesn't matter if you're even facing death itself tonight. He said, told Mary and Martha there at the grave of Lazarus, I've come, I am the resurrection and the life.
Yes.
If you're lost in the building tonight, He said, I've even got an answer for you. I've come to seek and to save that which was lost. It doesn't matter what you're going through, what you're facing, what your struggle is tonight. We serve a God who says, if you know me, rest assured, I know you. I know where you are. I know what you're going through. I'm glad we serve a God who this song says, He knows my name. He listens, they sing.